Right, we're live. I think that I just called you Niall. That's a good start, isn't it? Brilliant.
It's not showing on the YouTubes.
Is it? It is there now. I can see it. We're live.
Oh, no, there it is.
Definitely gone live. We should
With
say
apologies
that.
with apologies to Andy McBain.
Yeah,
who,
sorry, Andy.
This was scheduled erroneously for this time yesterday.
Yeah, without going into it, it's to do with time zones and people being in different countries and all sorts of useless reasons. But it's happening now. At least we're live. We're online now. We're later. It's 8 p.m. in the UK. It's normally kind of mid-morning, isn't it, when we're doing these? So we thought we'd try this and see if thousands of people come on and watch us, rather than 10.
Right,
So
Louise
far.
is in the house.
Yep, there's one.
Louise.
Yeah, got one. Hi, Louise. How are you feeling, Rob?
I'm pretty wrecked. I'm solo parenting this week for reasons I won't go into. But yeah, Mrs. Rob is away.
Not good.
It's
Are you just wrecked in terms of tired, or is it a mixture of tired and ill?
No, I'm not ill, actually. Touch wood
Okay.
for now. Yeah,
Nice.
this is my 1 week a year where where I'm not ill.
Happy days. I'm kind of both. I'm wrecked and ill, so
Oh, brilliant.
for different reasons. So this could be a really interesting podcast, couldn't it?
Yeah, I'm not with it at all. It's going to be one of our train wreck episodes, I think. So
They're
yeah,
the best.
why are you wrecked then? Oh, you've been busy, haven't you? You've been all over the world.
Yeah, that didn't help, but also just ill. Just kind of,
I know.
kid bug things that come, this relentless stream of horrible things that come out of your children. That's not been great. Not life-threatening, just, you just feel rubbish. This happens. I think we probably had the exact same conversation 12 months ago at this time of the year. But so that and also having to travel. I'm not moaning at all, but going to very far-flung places. In fact, I was fine. So I went to Bali 2 weeks ago, I think it was. I was fine then, felt absolutely fine. Jet lag was a killer. Kind of. I think it's a 16 hours of flying in total across 2 flights there and back, and 8-hour difference, I think it was. I couldn't get my head around. I've done a lot of long haul stuff, and I've been roughly as far as Indonesia before, but for some reason this time it completely messed with me. It messed my head around in terms of the time and what time it was back at home, and yeah, I really struggled with it for some reason. And coming back, I didn't really have much time to get back into the UK before running into loads of work and then going to Amsterdam last week. And then the day that I went to Amsterdam, waking up feeling horrendous and having to get down to Heathrow and also film something while I was feeling horrendous in the airport. I was filming a sponsor read for an eSIM brand. So when you see that, if I look utterly awful, that's why. But yeah, good times.
New one or Airolo again?
It's not Airolo.
Okay.
No, it's NordVPNs. It's Saily, I think it's called.
Oh yeah. No, so when I use NordVPN, their actual core product, the tried and tested VPN,
Which is good.
and yeah, they've been aggressively pushing that in their app. This eSIM malarkey.
Well, I'm even more aggressively pushing it while walking through Heathrow Terminal 5, snotty, so you can look forward to that.
Is
If
that
that
anything to
gets
do
you to
with
buy
what
one,
you
then...
would- Is that? But that's not related to why you were in Amsterdam.
No, I can't talk about why I was in Amsterdam, not allowed to, so I
Oh,
won't
so
say
still.
anything, just in case. Still can't,
Oh,
no, the embargo is
but you can
January.
talk about why.
So,
Oh crikey! Okay, so
yeah.
all right. So Samsung then. Okay, so why were you
wasn't
in
Samsung.
Bali? Was it not?
No, it wasn't
Honest.
Samsung. No. Good guess, though, if it wasn't. Bali, I can talk about Bali. That was Oppo. And it was their Find X8 and X8 Pro, new phones. Which, have you
Who
seen
else was
the
in
review?
Bali? Have I seen it? I didn't
The
even know
review,
it was
yeah.
published. We'll
Oh,
get on to
brilliant.
this actually in a minute. It takes us on to another. You're streamlining your online presence because you're in too many places. It's impossible to keep up with what you're doing.
Get too much of a bad thing, can't you? Who was in Bali? It was a good crew, actually. Yeah, it was all the usual suspects. To be honest. A lot of press guys who no one would know, not in any bad way. They just sit behind the scenes writing things for Tech Radar and all those guys. So a lot of those guys I've become pretty good friends with over the last few years. Who else was there? Thomas the tech chap was there. I spent some time on the top deck of a boat with him, flying a drone. You know the drone story, don't you? Where he'd lost his drone in the Amazonian River.
Did he manage to not crash it this time?
He didn't fly it. I flew mine. I did say to him, really, I can put it away if you want, if this is bringing back horrible memories. But bless him, he wasn't bothered. That was good. We basically spent the day after the launch, we had like an excursion thing. We went. It was kind of termed island hopping. Wasn't really, the only island hopping was just going from one island to the next on a boat. But the reason we went to the other island was to check out this stunning view of this landmark, which I've completely forgotten the name of. But it was really worth it. It was an incredible. The best thing about it was the road leading up to this viewpoint, because it was one of those kind of Top Gear roads, the kind of in the back of Beyond, in these kind of these Indonesian roads where it's like that wide. There's a sheer drop on one side with nothing there, no railing or anything at all, and these cars bombing down both sides, and really sort of exhilarating sitting in the back of that, and like I say, feeling like you're in an episode of Top Gear or something. But yeah, it was great. It was so hot though, so ridiculously hot. I couldn't get over the weather. It was, I don't mind hot weather, but this was like stiflingly humid.
The humidity, that's what gets you, isn't it? So what I want to know, which you couldn't tell me before, is, are the cameras any good? Can you rely on them? Do they take a picture of the thing that you asked it to at the moment that you press the button?
They do. Yeah, I think they do. I also think it's a bit of a a little bit like the Pixel. They've got a look. There's a very specific Oppo look, and you need to like it, I think, before you buy one of those cameras, one of those phones. I do like it. You know what I'm like with that sort of thing.
Have they teamed up with any big photography brand? Like Hasselblads and
it's with Hasselblad. It's the old Hasselblad.
Yeah,
that only really comes into effect with the portrait stuff. It's kind of portrait Hasselblad style things that they're built into it. But it's I think it's a great camera system. Really quite impressive zoom ranges. A little bit like the Xiaomi 14T. Really nice phones. The only problem with all these phones is that they are just all really nice, and they all do a very good job of normal stuff. I think it's picking out the things which differentiate them and recommending them to people is really tricky, I think, because it does come down to the camera quality. If you like the photos that thing takes versus the other thing. Everything else is just on a par these days, I think. The only thing that isn't, really, is the standard iPhone 16 because of its display. Because it's got a 60 hertz display, which is really noticeable. When you start using a lot of Android phones, all of which have got 120 hertz at least refresh rates, that is starting to grate a little bit.
Oh, surely they'll sort that out next year, surely.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But the other thing that the X8 and X8 Pro have got is their own camera control button, which still don't like. It's still in the wrong place. It's a little bit better than the iPhone, but it's still not right at all. It's just too far over.
You played with anything else fun recently?
What else have I played with? Nothing springs to mind. No. Oh, no, there is actually. Of course, there is. I'm just looking at it now. The Sonos Arc Ultra.
Oh yeah.
And the Sub 4. I had those sent over by Sonos, and they're absolutely lovely. Really expensive though. I think 1,800 quid together or something like that. I think the Sub on its own is 750 quid or something ridiculous.
That's normal big Sonos Sub money. Yeah, so your little AV area then has got to be mega now, hasn't it? You've got that 1,000-inch TV and a full fat Sonos. So have you got any other Sonos speakers knocking around that you're using as rears?
No, not as rears. No, because I haven't got enough, really, because I've got one Era 100 and one Era 300. I think if you mix them up behind you, that might be a bit odd. So no, I've literally only got the Arc soundbar. It's just such nice stuff. It's just so expensive, that's the problem. But what I do like about it is that it's, you know, this is so easy to set up, and if you use the true play tuning thing, it gets what I was very impressed with is that it gets the sub volume spot on, and as you know, getting that is it's an art form, isn't it? Getting your sub right in a home cinema system. On this, it's just I've done nothing apart from the quick true play tuning thing, and it's just perfect. The balance is lovely, and it sounds great. And it looks great as well.
When's the review coming out for that then?
Not sure yet. There's going to be a little short form thing on it yet, but it depends how long we've got it for versus how much stuff we've got to go out in the calendar, which is a bit mad at the moment. So, but we might try and get one in again to do a proper review. I think, to be honest, it would make more sense to do.
Lull in the tech world.
Well, there is with big brands, isn't there? There's something happening next week, which again I can't mention, but I'm going to another launch next week. So there's one more launch that I'm aware of. In fact, there's two actually. They're both embargoed, but there's two that I'm aware of before Christmas, on the Android side and headphone side as well, actually. But that's it really. Everything else is, it's definitely kind of quieting down. Before CES, obviously.
Subject to headphones, what are those you're wearing there? They're new, aren't they? You got some Sony
I know.
monitors.
I've been wearing these for a while. These are the Sony MDR, whatever they're called.
Are
Yeah. I think I've been using these for the podcast.
they? Have you?
I think so. I believe
So
so.
yes. Yeah, sorry, I'm a bit out of the loop, and it sort of it flows into your recent Substack post. So your Substack, which people may or may not be aware of, is what was the brand? Was that Solo Club Substack?
It was, yeah.
So that's going away now.
Yeah, just too many newsletters, really. There's the weekly video newsletter for the reviews channel. There's Discord, obviously, which is linked to Patreon, and then there's Substack, there's just too much stuff, really. I think this is some kind of a bit of feedback I had from the team here. It's why it's so useful bringing people into a business, isn't it? Because they can look at it with a bit more of a critical eye and say, why are we doing that, or what? And someone just said, look, if someone wants to follow you outside of the YouTube channel, what do they go for first? Do they go for the newsletter? Do they go for the Substack newsletter? Do they join Patreon? Where does Discord come into it? It's just a bit too much, really. And also, I was finding I was repeating myself across different newsletters a little bit. And also, there's the second YouTube channel here, the Tech Diary, which kind of seeps into all of that stuff as well. So, just simplifying, basically. So we've revamped the newsletter, and it's I think the first one's going out either tomorrow or Monday, I think. It will still have that video, the weekly newsletter video, but there'll be more stuff in the newsletter, in the email itself. It'll be a bit more interesting, hopefully, if we get it right. Which I think we will. I've seen the preview, and it looks pretty good.
Did you have a look at Croissant in the end for cross-posting across platforms?
I didn't know. I forgot about that.
And the other thing I'm curious about is whether or not you've sort of discussed Ghost, the platform Ghost, which is blogging, subscriptions, newsletters. So you could, because I mean it's not cheap if you want them to host it, but if you're happy to host it yourself or pay someone to do that for you, it's open source. But so they if you want them to do it, I think the amount of money that you're paying for your current email distribution network plus your other sort of various mechanisms, I think it would actually not be too bad.
Possibly. I mean, we're using Beehive, so we've switched from ConvertKit to Beehive, and I've left that to the guys to work out the best, whatever the best platform was, and Beehive came out top. I think we did look at Ghost, and for some reason that was discounted for whatever it was. But there's so many of these platforms. It does come down to cost and some of the features, but they all do the same thing, really.
Yeah. The thing about Ghost that's appealing, in my opinion, is that you could pull it. It offers a Patreon-like experience. It offers a newsletter subscription. It offers a website and all the metrics and stuff, and it takes care of all the payment, the distribution, everything. It's all under one, but which is perhaps dangerous. But yeah, just as I say, your fragmentation is such that. I mean, I guess I don't really need to watch your content because I can just ask you about stuff once every 2 weeks. But I do try and tune in for anything that interests me. But I find that I'm getting less and less interest, not in your content specifically, but just in the tech world generally. Everything is so good now, and this is such a first world problem, isn't it? But like you say, like the Android phones, they're all pretty good. And in a sea of really good phones, the most disappointing one out there is the iPhone. Bogo iPhone with its 60 hertz display, which it's a real shame, because in every other respect that phone is superb. It's a brilliant device.
It's a lovely phone, but it's just
they fixed that. They've
totally agree. Those little things.
They'll be back. They'll be back on top. So, what else has happened this week?
Black Friday.
Oh, Black Friday. Do you have any interest in Black Friday? Do you either have the time or the inclination to buy anything? Because we make so much. Yeah, because we make so much content about it, you just get less interested in buying things yourself, I think. I did buy... What did I buy for Black Friday? Something really boring. It was a camera strap, because I've got my my Fujifilm X106, which came through recently, which is very exciting. I bought a camera strap for that, like a wrist strap thing, and something else, which has escaped me. I just bought an Anker plug, Anker power brick. That was it, because it was a good price. It was like 20 quid versus 50 quid, whatever it was before. But yeah, that was it. I'm really rubbish at buying Black Friday stuff, personally. Looks like you've bought some gear, though, from the looks of the outline. Just a bunch of smart home stuff. So I think last time we talked, I mentioned how annoyed I was with my Yale Connexus lock, and that I was looking at the Aquara U200. So I got one of those because it was quite a lot of money off. I think these are like 280 quid, and they were punting them out for 180. So it's probably maybe like 90 plus pound off. So as you can see, I haven't got around to installing it yet, but it looks like a nice bit of kit. I got some some Christmas tree lights from Govee, the RGB masters.
Yep.
And the interesting thing about that is that obviously normally you buy some Christmas lights and the colours are largely pre-configured. The thing about this is that you can have it so that on each revolution of the tree you can have a different set of colours, if you see what I mean. So you can go in and configure it so that each layer has a different design. So that's quite cool. So that'll go quite nicely with my curtain lights that I got a while back. I am really into Govee stuff. I've got some Govee lamps. It's good stuff. I like it.
Yeah.
I've got a couple more of those Aquara presence sensors. So I've had one set up in my kitchen for ages. There's a couple of other rooms that I've grown tired of physically having to press a button to turn lights on. That's so last year. So now I've got 3 rooms in my house where you walk in and the lights will come on automatically, and depending on what time of day, the brightness will be adjusted appropriately so that, So my kitchen, for example, if I need to go down for a glass of water at 2 o'clock in the morning, I don't want it to be at max 100% brightness. It just needs to be sort of night light. So it's quite good for that. So anyway, I've got 3 rooms in the house that do that now. Got a couple of new Philips Sonicare toothbrush thingies, largely because the charging case is USB-C, and I'm just on a mission to eradicate anything that isn't USB-C from my life. So what can I say about that other than it's a good toothbrush if you're into electric toothbrushes. It's very nice, but it's got a completely pointless app. And I think there's like an accelerometer or something in the handle. So as you're brushing your teeth, if you open up the app, you can see it mapping where you've brushed with your mouth in case you've missed a bit.
Like your robot Hoover mapping out your lounge.
Yeah, but mapping out your mouth. So
it's not cheap, is it? 300 quid for a toothbrush.
Oh, wow, that's the recommended retail price, but on Black Friday they were half price, which is still a lot of money for a toothbrush.
It was 549 quid. That was the original price.
Was it? No one's paying that for a toothbrush, are they?
For a toothbrush? Why would you ever pay that for a toothbrush?
Yeah, but so I did briefly flirt with the Suri. Do you remember the Suri?
Vaguely, yeah.
So this is a sort of an eco-friendly toothbrush brand, which has a charging case that's got USB-C in it, and it's got like a UV sanitization feature. But it comes with a bunch of cool accessories, like a magnetic mirror mount. So it's got a sticky back mount that you can put on the wall or on a tile or on a mirror, so that you can just stow the toothbrush off the side. You know, people will have like a glass or something that they keep their toothbrushes in, or some sort of thing. But yeah, this has got a magnetic mount, and obviously, knowing me and magnets, love magnets. But the trouble with, the other good thing about this is that the toothbrush heads are sort of eco-friendly, so they're recyclable. They're sort of made of some sort of organic material. I think they weigh in at about that. They're about 100 quid. But as I say, they've got a real eco focus. But the problem is, it doesn't brush your teeth as well as the Sonicare. So I've gone back to Sonicare, sadly.
That's its main function, really, isn't it? If you can't get the teeth brushing right, there's a bit of
I mean, it's not bad, don't get me wrong. It's not like I felt like I hadn't brushed my teeth, but there's something about those Sonicares that it's like, you go for a polish at the dentist, it's like having that just been to the dentist feeling.
Okay. So they are better than a £1.50 Colgate pack of 4.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. You still haven't convinced me.
No. All right. And then I bought a load of subscriptions, so I extended my subscriptions to like NordVPN, Bitdefender, Malwarebytes, Brain FM, Office 365, and the New York Times games, because I like playing Spelling Bee. So all those subscriptions were all heavily discounted. You still using the Brain FM?
Yeah, every day. Love it. Yeah, absolutely love it. Yeah.
I briefly considered 8 Sleep again, and Zoe. Zoe, the nutritional thing. Yeah. But I mean, because I'm really into the quantified self. So, I've got that stupid water bottle from Hydrate, the Hydrate Spark, that measures my water intake. I measure my sleep using a smart device, usually an Apple Watch, and the Pillow app. I've got. Do you remember that device I got ages ago, the Upright, which is just a little accelerometer that you strap on your back that tells you you're slouching? I've got like a Withings or Wipings, body monitor scale that obviously tracks my weight and my body fat, which, as you can see, is increasing by the day. I was like, I wouldn't have bought one, but I did look to see if the Withings Wii analyzer had been announced. I think we talked about this maybe a couple of years ago.
I remember this.
So they announced quite a while back a device that you could fit to your toilet that would analyse your wee and give you some insight. But that still hasn't materialised. I say, not that I would have bought one, but I did have a look to see if that had come out yet. So I think that's all I've got to say about Black Friday. Just smart home gadgets, a toothbrush, bunch of subscriptions.
Very conservative, but in a nice way. Very sensible. But he didn't buy 15 coffee machines and a robot Hoover that you don't need, and a 58-inch TV, and that's not very big, is it?
Or guitars.
Or any guitars, yeah. There's so much stuff you can buy, isn't there, on Black Friday? You're only buying it because it's Black Friday. That's what bothers me. I always stop myself. I think, I don't need that coffee machine because I've already got one. It's always coffee machines for me, but I always think, would I be buying this if it wasn't Black Friday or Cyber Monday, whatever? And the answer is normally no, I wouldn't be buying it, so stop. Stop what you're doing. We've got some Apple news here.
Not very
It's not
much,
very exciting, though, is it?
Well,
Wallace
it is
and Gromit
if you're
are
a
involved.
Firefox user, which may or may not be of interest to Louise, who we know is a big Firefox fan. But there's an iCloud passwords extension for Firefox now. That's just come out this week.
That's just made my Christmas.
And then there's the Wallace and Gromit Christmas short that was filmed on iPhone and then projected onto the side of Battersea Power Station.
I've not seen that yet.
Tall Wallace and Gromit. You haven't seen that? I'll put
No.
a link in the show notes to that. That's worth checking out. So there's an article actually on the Apple website with the behind the scenes about how they did it. It's quite interesting.
Nice. They've also released a Christmas advert, haven't they, that's getting everyone very sort of teary-eyed, which now that I'm a dad, I daren't watch. It popped up on my feed. I think the first thing I saw the other morning was that loads of people commenting on this app, on this ad, which is, I think, centred around the hearing aid feature, isn't it, on AirPods Pro 2. I just thought, I can't face watching that. Now I'm just a mess now. I'm a dad. I don't know if you had this when you had kids, but I can't stand anything that is remotely sad or emotional depicted on film related to kids. I just can't do it anymore. For me, it used to just be it was dogs normally, but now it's dogs and kids. I can't deal with that. Have you seen it?
I haven't, no, but I will.
Okay.
I will seek it out. I'll put a link in the show notes, and I will
Apparently,
check it
very
out.
very moving. Apparently,
Yeah. What else has happened? Oh yeah, so if you bought an iPhone 14 2 years ago, one of the things that you would have been enjoying from that moment is in a number of countries around the world, free emergency SOS satellite communication. And at launch, they said it would be free for 2 years, and then there was no word about what it might cost afterwards. So we're now at the stage where that has expired, and there's still no news about what that might cost. So we can only assume that for the time being, it's going to continue to be free. But what are they going to do with that afterwards? Do you think they're going to sort of roll it into your iCloud subscription or Apple One or something like that?
And also, why do they have to charge? Why were they kind of suggesting that it would be chargeable? Is it costing them to? I mean, it must be costing them something, mustn't it? But are they renting a satellite that they need to start paying for? How does that work?
I mean, they'll be paying an outfit quite a lot of money to be able to deliver that service, I think.
It almost feels like something they've forgotten, like it was a note on a meeting somewhere, and they've just forgotten about it, and someone's going to get fired, aren't they, when Tim finds out that they didn't action that thing?
Well, maybe it's thankfully not required as that much, such that they're happy to swallow the cost for the foreseeable future. So you've seen the stories, haven't you? All sort of people whose lives it's saved because they've gone and got lost on a hill.
The only times I ever see it, though, are either in this studio. I'm fine in here. I don't need rescuing by a helicopter in here. Hopefully won't need anyway. Or on the tube in London. It always pops up there. That's it. Again, I don't really need... I'm just surrounded by people on a tube. I don't really need any kind of satellite assistance at that point. I'm yet to find myself at the top of a mountain, nearly dead and needing my iPhone. Hopefully that will never happen. Touch wood, I never find myself in that position, but I'm one of the lucky ones, clearly.
So even when you do, it might well save your life and it won't cost you anything, so that's good.
Make a great video, wouldn't it?
So what I'm interested to know from you on the Apple side of things is how you and or your team have been getting on with the M4 Mac Minis. So you did a couple of videos where you tried to break them and failed.
Yeah.
Which is predictable because most people can't break an M1, really.
No, you can't. The only way you can break them is by doing silly things, really silly things that no one does in real life. So we've only got one now, so I sent back the base model one just because it wasn't really going to get used and it seemed a bit wasteful to have it hanging around. So kept the M4 Pro one. Ironically, I could have kept the base model. That would have done me these days, to be honest. But I can't help myself. I want the expensive one with all the cores and all the memory and everything. But it's brilliant. It's the best thing Apple has ever made, I think. Have you managed to get your hands on one yet? Have you seen it in the flesh?
Yeah, so I was in Bristol recently, unfortunately. So I nipped in.
Sorry, Bristolians.
Have you been to Bristol lately?
Not lately. I didn't. It's okay, isn't it? What's wrong with Bristol?
It's lovely. I love Bristol. Yeah, anyway, so I went into the Bristol Apple store, and I looked at the M4 Mac Mini, and I had my M1 MacBook Air with me, and I tried them side by side, and I could not tell the difference. So I decided not to buy one. But it's a lovely thing, isn't it? And I'm really, I mean, if you're in the market for a new Mac, if you've got an Intel Mac, and you're looking for a desktop machine, just buy an M4 Mac Mini. It'll serve you well for many years, I think. It'll be a superb machine. But as I say, my problem is that I've got an M1 laptop and I've got an M2 Pro desktop, and I'm not even close to maximising their capabilities. But what I'm really excited about is how much it's captured the imagination of the internet at large. So you've got people who would never, previously sort of not really all that interested in Mac, are being genuinely like, well, okay, that's fair play, Apple. That's quite cool. But also people who are, into 3D modelling and stuff. There's the wide array of accessories and things that you can, download the CAD files for to do 3D printed cool stuff. So I think last time we spoke, we talked about the Mac Pro model that someone had done. You can now turn it into any Mac. So you've got like a G4 Cube model, you've got like a Power Mac G4 sort of, which you could print out in a Bondi blue. And then there's the crazy things that you can put it in. So Chance Miller of 9 to 5 Mac got G4 iMac, the one with the sort of articulated screen on an arm, pulled out all the gubbins, rammed his M4 Mac Mini in there and made himself an M4 Mac Mini G4 iMac, which is amazing.
That's amazing. I do see these things and think I wish I had the inclination and time and knowledge to do this stuff, because it is brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, so I'll include links to all of that stuff. So, in actual fact, Christian Zelig, formerly of the Apollo Reddit client, which then, he had his pants pulled down on that, and then he made a really nice YouTube client for Vision Pro and got his pants pulled down on that as well.
Poor Christian.
Well, it turns out that in his spare time, he likes to do 3D modelling. But he's made some. So it's one thing to get your M4 Mac Mini and then, 3D print something to make it look like something else. So that's fair enough. So I need to mention there's a modeler called Jared H, and I'll put a link to his thing. If you click on that, he's like modelled like a little Santa hat that you can put on your M4 Mac Mini. All sorts of fun things. He's made a model for this, the rainbow stage at Apple.
Yeah, just seen that.
So you put a rainbow stage on your M4 Mac Mini. He's done a little NES case to make your M4 Mac Mini look like a
4x4 case as well.
So
Hello, Danger.
So I'll include links to that. All fun stuff. But yeah, Christian Zelig, he's gone the other way. He's like, rather than make models of things to turn your M4 Mac Mini into something else, he has modelled a bunch of really fun M4 Mac Mini shaped desk accessories. So he's made like a little a little stash box that you can keep things in, or a pen holder, or a plant pot. So that's quite cool.
I love that.
So that's just a hidden talent of Christian Zelig there.
No idea. That's lovely. Yeah, but it is a lovely thing. I love the fact people are doing this. But it's the thing itself is just really, really happy with mine. It's just sat over there. I think you can just see it there. And Apple knows what it's doing. It looks best when it's paired with with a studio display. They look perfect together. I've even gone back to using the Magic keyboard, not the Magic Mouse. I'm still using the Logitech MX Master, but I'm using
You're not using the Magic Mouse. So you're not using it with that lovely orthopedic shoe I got you last year.
No, I'm not. That's just an ornament now, I'm afraid. That's an ornament on the shelf of stuff. But no, I've gone back to using the Magic Keyboard because I've kind of gone back to using Apple stuff apart from the Magic Mouse, because that's horrendous. Still.
Oh,
yeah. Okay.
I nearly forgot Satechi. For the old Mac Mini, Satechi did a cool sort of base where gave you a bunch of extra ports and a headphone jack on the front and all that sort of stuff. And then later, I think they updated it so that you could put an M.2 drive in it. Long story short, they've got a new one that's M4 Mac Mini shaped. Looks all right.
Yep.
I'm sure.
Yep.
Satechi stuff is generally quite good, isn't it? I can't think of a Satechi thing that I've seen or bought myself that I didn't like. So.
No, I was a big fan of the original Mac Mini one. That was great. But no, I'm glad you've mentioned that, because that could do with one of those. No, all is good in the world of the Mac. I think at the moment it's good times.
It is. But meanwhile, in Microsoft world,
okay.
Did you see the Windows 365 link that was announced this week?
No, I didn't. But let's have a look.
Okay. So this is it's what you or I would have referred to in the olden days as a thin client. Okay. So Microsoft are pushing their cloud PC thing, which either as an individual or a business user or an enterprise customer, you can buy a virtual cloud-hosted PC that you can use anywhere there's an internet connection, and this is just a little box, similar in size to an M4 Mac Mini, that allows you to hook up your keyboard, mouse, and monitor so that you can interface with your cloud PC.
Okay.
But it's rubbish, isn't it? Because
It
you
looks
can
quite
already log into if you want a cloud PC, you can already log into it from any device that you already have anyway. So, why does that exist? It doesn't need
Who's
to
it
exist.
for? Who would buy this?
I don't know. But what's slightly more interesting is the collaboration with Meta. So you can now put Windows on your face in your Quest 3 if you want.
Really? I wouldn't want to get that close to the start menu.
Three display, multi-monitor, floating in thin air. And, so you can pair your keyboard and mouse with your Quest 3, log into your cloud PC and do your cloud PC stuff. I think the pricing starts from about £30 a month, but there is a free trial if you want to try it out just for fun.
Yeah, I probably won't be doing it.
It's sort of like the logical conclusion, really. You've been able to do the Xbox cloud gaming on Quest and just about everything else for a good while now. So yeah, bringing a desktop PC experience into offering that seems to make sense to me, I think.
There must be a market for doing it.
Yeah,
I'm not it, but yeah, there must be there.
You're not interested in the Copilot Plus new wave of Snapdragon X Elite PCs?
I'm interested in the Snapdragon stuff because it's genuinely interesting. It's kind of heading down, Apple Silicon territory, isn't it? But Copilot, I tried Copilot and it was just ChatGPT, really. Although having said that, I was at one of these kind of Christmas party things the other day at a PR firm that was being held in London, and big team there, and they were all talking about Copilot. They were like, we use it all the time. It's we couldn't live without it now. That was my ears pricked up and thought, okay, this is actually being used, because it felt to me like it was just they have to put AI. Everyone has to put AI into everything, and Copilot was the Windows version of that. But it does sound like it's being used in the real world, which is interesting. Particularly interesting when you can't do any of that on the Mac at the moment. Certainly in the UK with the lack of Apple Intelligence.
Yeah, I mean, there are various ways to integrate your AI platform of choice. Most of the AI providers have got native apps that you can put on your Mac OS if you want.
True. Very true.
Yeah, what else is happening
Tech
in the
news?
world? Sorry, hang on. Before we move on from Microsoft, it makes me sad because they just keep getting it wrong, don't they? Did you see the This Is an Xbox campaign that they did? So they were trying to push their Xbox, their cloud gaming service, and they're saying, well, this is a Samsung phone, this is an Xbox, and so. But it went down about as well as the time Apple tried to tell you that an iPad wasn't a computer. Or what was the campaign? It's like, your next computer is not a computer.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was met with the same sort of reception as that, with people are just like, what is this telling me?
Okay. Yeah, so this is an Xbox that you wear. This is a cat box. This is an Xbox that goes on the wall. This is an Xbox that makes calls. This is a bento box. This is still an What?
Although to be fair, it's not as dreadful as the Jaguar rebrand.
I was waiting for you to mention Jaguar. We have not even said Jaguar, have we? In the last, in fact, it's probably been within the last 2 weeks that happened. But no, it's not as bad as that. But I don't know what this is getting at.
Yeah.
And also, you imagine the number of meetings, the amount of money that would have been spent on the PR and marketing and people to just come up with that campaign. It'd be eye-watering, wouldn't it? The amount of time they'll have put into this.
Well, so they've got these sort of new markets that they're trying to explore, where they've moved over to ARM and they've got their cloud PC, and then the Xbox cloud gaming service is reasonably popular and reasonably good. But like their core offering, just the amount of people that are unhappy with Windows in its current state, the way that they've been doing a number of things that have irritated people, like sort of trying to poach your bookmarks and information from Chrome without your permission, and just really aggressively trying to push you onto Edge. And the most recent release of Windows has just balked all sorts of things all around the world, and they need to do better, don't they?
Yeah. Going back to this advert, there's a
Oh,
Samsung one where it says this is a Samsung phone, and then below it says this is an Xbox. What is the phone?
yeah.
If you
Well,
take
it
it
is because
literally, it doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. That's true. So because that's exactly what I use mine for. It's
Right.
as a as a fancy display for cloud gaming streaming, and
But
I don't know where it is, a Games G8. It's
but it's
an
not an
appalling
Xbox.
waste of a phone. It's not. Well, are they trying to argue that it kind of is if you
Are we
want it to
just
be?
are we too old? Is this like have we just passed it, Rob? Is that what it is? We're roughly the same age, aren't we? Maybe it's just we just don't get this stuff anymore.
Yeah, maybe. All right,
More
moving
likely.
on.
Moving on.
Other tech news. The Verge have announced a subscription. They're moving to
Okay.
subscription. So they're taking a medium style approach where you get a certain number of free articles, and then once if you're a big consumer of the Verge content, you'll be expected to cough up. I think it's like $7 a month or $50 a year. What do you think about that?
It's interesting, isn't it? I mean, they're going to have a big enough readership base, I would have thought, to make that work. I think enough hardcore Verge fans that will make it work. But it's the reasoning behind it that's interesting, isn't it? Why have they done that? And we're kind of in tune with a lot of this stuff now because we're investing a lot in the website in markhandisreviews.com. And there's been a huge Google update recently, so it's their latest November update is pretty much finished rolling out now, but we've seen massive gains in traffic. It's really kind of pulled up, having had quite a rough year, quite a rough 12 months traffic-wise after the last big update. This latest one seems to be benefiting smaller websites. And like I say, not just us. I was listening to a podcast the other day where, like an SEO-focused podcast, ever so exciting, which that they were kind of reeling off a bunch of independent websites that have seen some really nice improvements after this big update. They seem to be favouring, like I say, smaller publications, individual kind of commentary and all that sort of stuff. And we're finding that we're ranking alongside the Verge and alongside some big pubs when it comes to key terms like iPhone 16 Pro Max review and all that sort of stuff.
You turned up on Stephen Bartlett's iPad one time.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that was the Vision Pro thing he was looking at, wasn't it? That was before all this, before all the effort we were putting into it, really. But I wonder if part of that is down to this. I don't know. I mean, but yeah, the Verge. It's really hard work. Again, going back to the guys that I meet on these press trips, the guys that work for these publications, they're really battling against Google these days, just because of the whole no-click thing, where you get most of your answer in a little AI box at the top, so you have no reason to go and click anything below it. That's really impacting a lot of these big traditional publications, which is pretty frightening, I would have thought. So I just wonder if that may be an element behind this.
That's probably
possibly.
the main driver, is the fact that you've got all these enormous AI models slurping up all of this free information and then regurgitating it out to people who are using their AI to get answers rather than viewing the website, and thus denying them ad revenue and affiliate commission and all that stuff.
It regularly gets it wrong, though. I don't know if you find this. There's a lot of the AI answers I get on from Gemini that just don't make sense. So it's wrong. If you're searching for some, I can't think what the example was, but there was something I was searching for. It was car related, an answer to a question about a car. I knew the answer was wrong. It picked out the wrong price or something, or the wrong spec or something. And I just scrolled down a little bit further and found the exact answer I was looking for on a traditional website. I don't trust AI with a lot of stuff. It still gets things incredibly wrong.
It's not there yet. What else has happened? One UI 7 has started rolling out, or rather the beta has.
Okay,
You're going
nice.
to be giving that a go?
Probably won't do the beta.
Installation.
Not really.
Just
No. I'll wait for it.
To come out proper on there.
Wait for the S20, S25.
Yeah. So what
What
the
else?
biggest thing about One UI 7? It's got a bunch of privacy stuff, and it's all the usual, security, yada yada yada. But the most exciting thing for me is finally you can have a vertically scrolling app drawer in One UI 7, which has been
nice.
my biggest pet peeve about One UI. I mean, you could get it with good lock, but it wasn't a very nice implementation. So it wasn't. It kind of didn't look very nice. It was a bit janky. But now you can get an official, because One UI. It's always been paginated, and I hate that.
Yeah. Always throws me, that does. Always.
Yeah.
Obviously, switching between lots of phones. Every other phone is vertically scrolling.
Yeah. So yeah, you'll have that now. So that's good.
Happy days.
And just a bit sort of off piece. Do you remember a classic Mac app called Delicious Library?
No, I don't.
So this was from the golden age, in my opinion, of Mac apps, when everything was skeuomorphic and looked cool. And so Delicious Library was an app that allowed you to catalogue your media collection. So it would use the webcam on your device, or actually when it first came out there were no Apple devices that shipped with webcams, so you would have had to buy an iSight. God, remember that, the aluminium iSight camera.
Yep.
Firewire webcam.
Firewire.
Anyway, so if you had a device with a camera,
Now we're showing our age.
you could use it to scan the barcode on your cassettes and your DVDs and so forth, and catalogue it. And so I used to use it for home insurance purposes. I used to log everything so that I had a record in case of a fire or burglary or something. I could say, well, look, I've got it all here as an inventory for my insurance provider. So anyway, it made it up to version 3, I think, but like the developer stopped working on it quite a long time ago, and for the past few years has been working for Apple as Will Shipley, his name is. But it continued to work up until the last month or so, when Amazon closed the API it was using for its barcode scanning. So yeah, so it would go off and it would get like the cover art, and it would get all the sort of metadata about that
Nice.
thing that you wanted to include in your library. But
I missed that.
yeah.
I never came across that.
No,
No, never.
just around that time, Mac apps were really exciting. Do you remember Disco, the CD burning app?
Vaguely, yeah, vaguely.
So as you were burning your CD, it used to have a smoke effect on the graphic of the CD on the display that would just start wafting across your desktop. It was quite fun.
Those were the days. They don't make stuff like that anymore, do
They
they?
don't make them like that anymore.
They don't make it like that anymore. God
So
damn
what
it.
have we got? We've got like 15 minutes left.
Yeah, what can we pick from? So I haven't really got any. Have I got any more news? Anything interesting to mention in this place? I've started using a new bag. I've got a Peak Designs bag, which I'm in love with. I think it's amazing.
Oh,
I won't get it. It's not that exciting, but I'm very specific with my bags, and I was using a Waterfield design bag for a long time, which was like
I
a
love the
TARDIS.
Waterfield design. I've got a sleeve for my MacBook that is, it's got to be like 12 years old at least.
It's
And
so
it's
nice.
still perfect, and it's
Yeah.
got like a leather flap on the front that has just aged beautifully. Unlike,
Yeah.
in fact, my
Oh,
fine
no.
woven watch band, which I think we're on month 2.
Yeah.
It's looking all shiny and horrible. So
Oh,
yeah, no,
dear.
the fine woven, it genuinely is as terrible as everyone says it is. So there we go.
You tried. At least
Put
you
that one to
tried.
bed. I'm just trying to find the box for something.
Well, while you're doing that, let me just pick some random things out of here. Your car. Have you got your car yet?
No, it is in the country. It's going through QA at the moment.
Okay. QA. Okay.
So that should be here soon. So I don't think I explained my situation very well last time. So I was looking at 1 to 2 year old mid-size SUVs, and just through a quirk of the fact that Kia had announced a facelifted version that week, and I guess and they were, so it's coming. So the current, so I've got a Sportage coming for those who missed it last week, and I was looking at all the usual suspects in that field. That category of vehicle, basically came to the conclusion that actually not only was it cheaper, had a longer warranty, had more toys, and it's just the most comfortable and most suitable for my family car needs at this time. But yes, due to a quirk of the sort of second-hand car market, and the fact that obviously Kia, I imagine, they've released this sort of parts bin model called the Shadow, which has kind of got bits from various lines, because there are like 4 different flavours of Sportage, going from I think like 2, 3 GT line, blah blah blah. But yeah, so I think that just long story short, I wanted to buy an up to 2 year old mid-size SUV. It was cheaper to buy a brand new parts bin Sportage that they're trying to get rid of because the new one's coming in next year.
Crazy.
bonkers. But anyway, I still haven't got it. But yes, I'll let you know how I get on with that.
It's on the
when
way.
it arrives.
It's in the country. It's getting to your house.
So did I cut you off? You were talking about a Peak Designs bag, or did we finish that?
That was it. I'd finished really, but yeah, Peak Designs bag. It's the It's the everyday carry 20 litre. Not sponsored, but highly recommended.
I'll tell you
Yeah,
what
very nice.
also hasn't turned up is my bookcase.
Oh, is it a Billy bookcase from?
No, this is the AstroPad.
No idea what
bookcase.
that is.
This is the MagSafe accessory that attaches to your phone and gives it sort of stabilizers. So
that bookcase, not a real bookcase.
No, it's
I remember
the
now, yeah.
case that turns your phone into a sort of Kindle e-reader type thing. It was supposed to be delivered today, but every have failed, so I can't show you that. What I can show you is the Tiny Pod that's turned up.
Oh yeah, what's it like?
Do you know? So the packaging is really nice. You know, like Apple packaging, the tolerances are really, really good. Like you've got you slide this out and then you get the device, but it's got that sort of matte finish that Apple packaging has, and they've done a really good job with that. It's got a little orange ribbon at the top, but yeah, the device itself. For those who aren't aware, it turns an Apple Watch into a prison phone, essentially, or a Derek Zoolander phone. So if I open up the back, so it's got a panel on the back that you take off, and then you sling your Apple Watch into it like that. Put the back back on, and it gives you an iPod scrolly wheel. Let me see if I can bring up the app drawer thingy. Where is it? There we go. So there's the apps, and you just scroll the wheel, and it's quite good.
How is it doing that? How is it doing that?
Well, if you take it apart and you have a look inside, there's a little wheel, so they've got a mechanism that is turning this, the horizontal plane rotation into a vertical plane rotation. It's very good.
I love that.
It's fine. It's good. I like it. It makes me happy. But I might try and use it as a phone for a week or something, see how I get on. But one of the problems is that if you don't want to have to enter your PIN every time you pick the damn thing up, then you have to turn off the wrist detection, and that actually you need to do that really for extended battery life anyway. But as a consequence of that, you lose your Apple Wallet card payment ability. So if you haven't got some sort of the wrist detection, so that once you've entered your PIN, or if it's paired with a phone and that's unlocked via Face ID or whatever, if there's no security on it, then for good reason, it's fair enough, it's a sensible thing to do, you then can't use the wallet on it, which is a bit annoying. But I'm more impressed with it than I thought I was going to be. So I thought from the various reviews that I'd seen that the tolerances weren't good and that it was a bit janky. It's actually it does what it's set out to do, but what it's set out to do is silly. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's a collector's item. I think it's a shame because it's just, I suppose it's governed by what the Apple Watch is really made for, which is being strapped to your wrist. Anything else quickly before we wrap up?
So we previously discussed, Bartender, the macOS app that consolidates your status bar apps into one. Well, that got bought out. Or the independent developer sold it to a big company, then put a load of telemetry and stuff that doesn't need to be in it. So I needed to find an alternative, and I tried a bunch. Anyway, long story short, I've settled on icemenubar.app. It's free. It's open source. It works exactly the same, but it's free, open source, and it's not spying on you. And there you go. In other news, right, bizarrely, and I never thought I'd hear myself say this, is I've switched to YouTube Music. Because, I've always been a bit of an audio snob. I've tended to go with your titles and your quo buzzes and whatever. It's just that I'm so sick of ads on YouTube, and I watch an awful lot of YouTube, that you get YouTube Music as part of your ad removal subscription for YouTube Premium, don't you? So I've just started using that, and it's fine. But the thing that I'm enjoying most about it is that it surfaces things that you don't find on other platforms. So sort of, live lounge performances, or do you ever see what's the Tiny Desk performances?
Yeah,
that sort of thing?
I love it. Yeah, it's great.
So although I've got
nice.
a bunch of playlists and other stuff, like it just surfaces really interesting alternative performances of those songs that I've heard hundreds of times that I'd be quite happy to listen to one more time. But it's offering me this alternative, like an acoustic version or a live version or something that is not quite so digestible on any other music platform.
Yeah, I've never used it. I've never used YouTube Music, but whenever it pops up as an ad, try it for 3 months or whatever, I always think maybe I should give it a go.
I think it's really good.
Is the app good? Is it a good app experience?
It's no worse than Spotify. I don't really like the new Spotify app.
It's not great, is it?
So yeah,
I might give it a go.
It's nice. I think you should. It's nice.
Do you get all the music videos as well? Is that all built into it? So it's all that, and also regular, just normal tracks.
Yeah.
Does it have high definition, hi-fi stuff?
I don't know what the bitrate is, but it sounds fine. So yeah, so rather appallingly, it's not got integration with my name Unity Atom, so that streams from proper music platforms. So at the moment, I am airplaying. I'm airplaying YouTube Music to my $2,500.
That's horrendous.
Which is just it's a disgrace, isn't it? But it sounds fine.
Yeah.
So
it's like filling your M3 with the worst type of petrol, non-premium petrol.
Supermarkets 95 RON.
Morrison's best. Oh dear. Right, let's do one last thing. Should we do the silly thing?
Well, hold on. We got 3 minutes. So I can get through my moans.
Okay. Go.
I've been having some Wi-Fi issues recently. This is a brand new thing because I've been clinging on to my Orbi Wi-Fi 5 mesh because I would get 600 plus megabits per second anywhere in the house. I live in a townhouse. I've got 3 floors. I've got a node per floor. Works brilliantly, or did until recently. So one of my neighbours on one or the other side must have upgraded their Wi-Fi, and it's been interfering with mine such that my throughput has tanked to like 80 megabits per second. So this is a PSA really. So built into Mac OS, there is a tool called Wireless Diagnostics. Okay, don't run the wireless diagnostics, but in the status bar there's a drop-down menu called Window, and then you can select an item called Scan, and that will look at all of the currently broadcasted SSIDs in your local area, tell you what channels they're using. So long story short, I went in and I determined that yes, someone had got a new router. I don't know who, but there was some interference with my setup, so I just moved my setup to a different channel, and it's much better now. However, I've got fibre, full fibre to the premise through Vodafone gigabit fibre. That contract is coming up to its end, and I've noticed that EE are offering a 1.6 gigabit per second broadband service with a Wi-Fi 7 mesh thrown in, and they'll pay any switching fee. So as it happens, my Vodafone contract is up for renewal in December anyway, but they will pay switching fees, and so they're new. I can't remember what it's called, like a Smart Home Hub Pro or something. It's got 5 2.5 gigabit Ethernet ports on it. And so it's got a wireless extender, and it's Wi-Fi 7. And if you want to buy a system like that, you're on the hook for like 300 quid or something. So the fact that they're throwing that in with their broadband, which is on Black Friday deal until the end of today. So yeah, I think I might be switching my broadband to EE and giving that a go.
Why not? That's an impressive deal, isn't it? They're serious about it, aren't they? Nice looking little hub as well. I like the
looks all right, doesn't it?
Yeah,
but
for an EE, you wouldn't expect that from EE.
I mean, it's BT really, isn't it? So yeah, but the reason I wanted to mention that was just it's just a thing that happened to me, but also just a PSA on the Wireless Diagnostics app in Mac OS, which people may or may not know about. Because if you type in, Wireless Diagnostics into any given app store, someone will try and sell you an app that does the same thing.
That's how they get you. Right, the duck song.
You familiar with the duck song?
I'm not, but it has 647 million views, apparently. What is it?
Yeah, I think it's probably one of the... I don't know where it ranks in the most watched videos on YouTube ever, but 647 million views is quite a lot of views, isn't it?
It's a lot, isn't it? Yeah.
And my daughter discovered it recently, and she's been obsessed with it. And I found out too late that the original composer of the duck song, and it's an amusing song. I'll put a link in the show notes. I'm sure most people must have seen it with 647 million views. I imagine a large proportion of people listening to this know what I'm talking about. It's a song about a duck who harasses a lemonade stand person and continually asks him if he's got any grapes. Right? Is that ringing any bells?
No. I'm the one person who hasn't watched this.
Okay, well, so type in the duck song into YouTube. It's a cartoon, sort of animated music video. It's a fun song, but the composer I opened up a Kickstarter of sorts to get a plush duck made up, and it looks pretty good, but I got there too late. However, I did find a bunch of knockoffs on eBay, so I've got a duck song duck coming for my daughter, which should make her happy.
I'm just worried that I haven't seen it. I bet my son's seen it. He's 2.5. He's probably... I'd never know, but I can guarantee he's probably seen it already. I'll watch it. And who came up with that story? How would that ever come into your head? The mind boggles, doesn't it? I think we should say at the end of this episode as well that we're rubbish at self-promotion, but it just crossed my mind that we never really tell people that listen to this that we're on YouTube. I know it's fairly obvious now, we kind of reference it occasionally, but we should say, shouldn't we, that if you want to see this amazing podcast being produced live, you can see it now live on YouTube. So make sure you head over to 8 or 16 on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell and all those things. And the timing of when we do this is a little bit random, as it always has been, but that makes it exciting. It could happen at any point. But yeah, come and watch us. Come and have a chat in the
Come and have a chat. So yeah, obviously Louise is always here. It's always nice to see Louise. There's Andrew Scott said hello.
And then poor old Andy, who was waiting since yesterday at 8 o'clock. He's been waiting 24 hours, and he's probably fallen asleep.
Again to Andy McBain. I think we should make that the title of this episode.
Sorry to Andy McBain.
Apologies to Andy McBain due to Niall's scheduling snafu, wherein it said we were live yesterday and we weren't.
Yes. We'll just blame Niall.
Andrew Dodman has said that he's used that tool to optimise his mesh. So there we go.
Okay, and Seb's been listening since the start. Thank you very much, Seb. That's very kind of you. But yeah, if you've only listened to this, if you've been one of our long-standing listeners, that firstly, thank you very much. But also, just bear in mind that you can see it if you want to. You can see our faces. You may not want to. If you don't want to, no hard feelings at all. It will always end up on the podcast network. But if you fancy seeing what Rob, you probably know what I look like, but what Rob looks like, you can come and watch us. I think I'm going to go and slowly die and watch the duck song.
Yeah.
That sounds like the rest of my evening.
Get well soon.
Thank you. And we'll speak in 2 weeks, hopefully.
See ya.